Bear with me. This is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough one. I'm a New York City kid. We grew up in the city. We had an apartment in Greenwich Village. Also in upstate New York, we lived. My grandfather had a shop on Christopher Street in Greenwich Village. And when I was a kid, I always knew that I could step outside and I could look to the south and I could see the Twin Towers. It was important to us. It was a big moment. And as a kid, you just looked and said, wow, that's America. And it was just such a great thing that we could do. And I always knew those towers were going to be there. Of course, 14 years ago today, they disappeared. I couldn't bring myself to go back to New York for a lot of years. And it was only when I came to work here at Newsmax, I had to go up to New York, fill in for Steve Malzberg one night, and I went down to Ground Zero for the first time. And the memorial hadn't been built yet, and I knew I would go back. And this past Christmas, I took the Lady Shannon, her first visit to New York, and we went back, and we went to the memorial. I took some pictures inside, and I wanted you to see them and just get an idea of what was going through my mind and the minds of those who were there. It was so quiet. It was so respectful. It was so intimate. We heard the audio of the last phone calls of people before they died. We saw the pictures of heroism. We saw the slurry wall that kept the waters back, the underpinnings of the building itself. And to be able to spend time there and understand the twisted metal that left behind twisted lives and ruined lives, thanks to some people who simply wanted to kill us for no other reason than we're Americans. It was tough. It made me realize that we're a lost people in so many ways. We're politically and religiously at each other's throats. And I keep thinking to myself, wasn't it this that was supposed to bring us back together, make us Americans again, make us all just one people? And I realize that we're not there. We're a long way from there. But there is something about this day that's special. When my grandfather passed, about 1988, my dad took us up to dinner at the World Trade Center, and we looked out over New York, the north side of Manhattan, and he said, this is Pops in New York. And I told myself I was always going to be able to go back one day and relive it, and I can't. So it makes me think of him and all the Pops in New York and all the grandfathers and all the people that we miss to this day, and how we can never, ever take them for granted again, and remember how much we love them and we care about them. And as Americans, we want to make sure that this never happens again. This one's for you, Pop. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. Until then.